weekend for many of us.
It does. It's going to feel like spring in a lot of places. And ahead on America's Morning Headquarters, we're going to spring into a new hour with Jen Carfagno and Alex Wallace. We're going to have a look at what's coming up at 9 o'clock. You guys always have such an entertaining show between your questions and the segments that you do.
The question of the day today has to do with the blooms that are out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're seeing it.
Some of the flowers and everything that are popping up.
Yeah. I had said yesterday on the show that no tulips up in my yard yet. Yesterday, one popped.
Oh,
just in time for the segment.
Spoken into existence.
Can you give us the question now, or we have to wait till the show?
Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what's the question then about the blooms?
It's real simple. Are you seeing anything blooming? It's real simple.
But the thing is, people are seeing weird things blooming so far north, so early in the season, and it's a record for some. So we're going to dive into that. We're also going to talk more about what's happening with the solar eclipse. We've actually got one city turning. There's 3
thunderstorms are taking aim in the central U.S.
All right, we got it all. And we're looking at a threat of back-to-back days of severe weather in the Central Plains. The western half of Missouri could see storms starting today.
Yeah, getting active out there. The threat really increases and expands over the next couple of days. You see a spot like Kansas City in the bullseye for that threat for the storms for tomorrow, and the threat Thursday.
Forecast.
Yeah, because they could be big time or bust.
Yeah, it's a combined factor, right? You have the uncertainty with the weather part of it, and then the complex terrain interacting with the weather makes it that much more challenging.
Subtle.
It's an exponentially more difficult problem.
Yeah, subtle changes in wind makes all the difference. Well, a week from today is the first day of astronomical spring, and it starts just after 11 on Tuesday night Eastern time.
Side of spring.
Where you are, we're giving the bonus points today for your pictures.
Well, how about Karen, who says not yet, but maybe.
Doesn't it?
And early, actually, for some, for many. We're going to show you some of those maps that actually prove that coming up. You can go to Threads, send us your comments, or you can share your pics and video with us using the hashtag YesTV.
That are out of this world. Coming up a little later on the show, we'll talk about the upcoming solar eclipse, right? With the Rochester Museum and Science Center. That's coming up at 40 past the hour.
Yeah, Rochester's one of those spots that's going to be right there in it. They've got a whole weekend planned to enjoy it.
Yeah, the path of totality, that's the place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be talking a lot about, of course, we have live coverage on the Weather Channel that day, but we'll bring you everything that you can expect here coming up on the show and talk more about Rochester. I gotta say, when you see some of these numbers that are coming out, let's look, how high are we going? All right, 76 St. Louis.
Is that warm enough for the pool? Yeah, it's a little, maybe you'll bump up a couple and then you'll get there. But I mean, 70 in Chicago, again, that's today what we'll be finding. So a lot of warmth out there, well above average here, 20 to even 30 degrees above average. How many, we've been saying a lot of that here for the last couple of months.
That's how we end up with the record warmest winter, you know?
Yeah.
For so many, in the upper Midwest especially, there into the northern Great Lakes. All right, above average today, tomorrow, and Thursday, and you can see where it is. It's mainly in the eastern half of the country. There will be below average air, and that'll be in the west.
Yeah, hanging out there, which will help to fuel some of the wintry weather that we find there, but that's not happening east. It's all going to be warm here. Big Ridge essentially is the dominating factor here, and as we work towards the latter part of the week, trough digs into the west, so that's where we'll keep things on the cooler side. But look at the ridge building here eastbound. Late week around out there, keeping things in the 70s, and now some of those 80s.
Yeah.
Now we're
talking about pool weather here. 80 in Dallas. You know, it depends on the dew point too, because if it's really dry, it can be kind of chilly when you get out of the pool.
That's a very good point. Absolutely got to take that into consideration. It does cool down a little bit in Chicago tomorrow, 63 degrees. Again, still above average out there. And you'll see DC for you, average is 55. We're nowhere near that. String of the 70s, which I'm sure will help with the cherry blossoms, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really interested to see how we do. Now, last year about this time, we were a little ahead, actually, where we are this year. And it feels like it's been warmer this year.
Seems like it, but it's just so odd, right?
Yeah.
Slight cool down by Saturday, but again, still quite a bit above the average. Well, what goes up must come down. You got to get ready to do.
And welcome back to America's Morning Headquarters. Snow lovers, this one is for you. Resorts in Colorado about to get a big burst of snow, feet of it even.
Now, where it's warmer, that's fueling storms and heavy rains. The bullseye, the Central Plains into the Midwest. And Dr. Postel, you got a bit of a closer look at what we could see and when.
Yeah, I think we're going to start off with a chance for thunderstorms tonight.
Well underway to make the most of the celestial show in the sky, and the celebrations will last far longer than 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Going to stretch for days.
Rochester is hosting a 3-day Rock the Eclipse Festival. And with us now is Hillary Olson, President and CEO. Oh,
looks
no.
like we may have lost the
It
signal
froze.
there.
We've got a little partial behind us. And
look at
so
that.
they talked about the fact, Deborah and Hillary talked about the fact that all of North America will at least see a
Yes.
partial.
Yes.
And so everybody gets a chance to partake in this in some way. If you get to the path of totality, I mean, that's really when you get to see the big show.
That's like peak eclipse, if that makes sense.
You know, I still haven't seen it because of the clouds. So,
Oh, Jen, we're gonna cross our fingers this time around.
But I can tell you, even in spots where you're in the path of totality, the show is long. We say it's 3 minutes or ish. Maybe
6 to
4.
10 days, where the jet stream is going to take some weird shapes, and that will bring some much colder air into the lower 48. But I don't think it's going to last that long. Probably a few days.
Yeah.
So basically what we've seen most of the winter. You get a
Right.
little quick shot and then it's out of here in no time.
A quick shot, but this is going to be an interesting shot because this is the time of year where a lot of plants have been growing and budding and blooming, and
As
agricultural
we just
interests.
saw, we're ahead.
We're ahead of
Yeah.
schedule, and this is going to knock us back and hit us with some reality.
Yeah, you brought up a good point with agriculture. You think about the peach trees, apple trees, buds like that. Well, our question of the day is, are things blooming? I was working the ticket booth last night at the soccer game, and there's like 4 Bradford pears right across from us, and people kept coming up. They're like, "What stinks?" I'm like, it's not us. It's not.
We need the mid-morning hours to get you ready for the big events in your neighborhood.
The Weather Channel has you covered from coast to coast.
It's a clash of seasons. Let me get that right. That's kind of unfolding this week, and it's really going to bring us that snowy time in the west and severe weather in the middle part of the country. They kind of go together.
It's classic March, really.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna watch a thread of back-to-back